Hey everybody, Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DL Ignite. With me today, I've got Kieran.
Kieran, yeah.
And Kieran Gilmurray. And Kieran and I are going to talk about technology. We've called it going on a technology bear hunt because we're going to talk about blockers to technology and mindset and things like that. Before we get into that, Kieran, where can people get hold of you?
Easy bit on LinkedIn. I spent my life there. I was going to say there's only two of me. One is a chap from Scotland who's a really nice guy. I'm not him. He's much better looking. So just LinkedIn.
He's better looking and he's good fun, is he?
That's it. All the things that I'm not. One of the two of us had to get it. Somehow back 100 years we're related. And it was quite funny. I met him at an event in London a couple of years ago where the two Kieran Gilmurrays actually met side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There's a Christian rock star called Tim Hughes.
Is that where the similarities end? Just the name?
I've never met him or anything like that. I haven't had that opportunity. But my brother gives me his CDs every Christmas and thinks it's really funny.
Right, excellent. So you've stopped talking to your brother then? Yeah, that's okay.
So Kieran, this is about you, not about me. So give us a potted history of you and your background and your how have you got into technology? Because I know that you're really into some like leading edge stuff, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, I have to say I love it. And I sort of, it's a funny mix, Tim. Am I into technology or am I into business? I'm sort of into both. And I've sat between technology departments and business departments for 25 plus years. And I've always loved what technology can deliver in terms of business outcomes. And I've probably, I'm the generation that saw DOS, saw Windows 3.1, Windows 95, Windows XP, you name it, all the way up to where we are at the moment. And increasingly and gradually, I've just worked for bigger and bigger firms. My career is a bit potted in terms of I've worked for education companies. I'm an ex-teacher. I worked for Pearson Education. I've worked in insurance. I ran an insurance brokerage with a couple of others. I've done health, wealth, and benefits. I've lived and worked nationally and internationally. I've managed and directed IT teams and business teams. I've done grown contact centers. I've managed 11 data scientists over the time. And all of these are what I describe as different ingredients, different flavors, different experience that all come together to allow me to walk into businesses and help executive teams, because I'm an executive coach as well, help them perform at their very, very best and help the organizations perform at their very best using technology and automation and next gen tech. That's not the stuff that doesn't add value, that's just bleeding edge, nice to have. Someone's mentioning it down at the golf course. So the CFO tells her friends that, look, I found blockchain, I've got one.
I've got to have a blockchain project.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been into businesses where they say, why have you got a blockchain project? Well, we need to have one.
We need to absolutely senseless. So mine is putting in tech that works, that drives financial outcomes. And I've written a couple of articles and that, around automation, whatever, and said, if your program isn't making money, then it's a waste of time. And I would say at this moment in time, automation in terms of RPA and robots and whatever else, absolute phenomenal amount of PR in that. And that's a lot of the space that I'm in at the moment. There's a lot of nervous people sitting there as their CFO turns around and says, right, show me how all these robots and everything else have got me a financial return. Show me how digitally transforming my business, and that's the area that I'm in, that and social media and executive coaching. Show me how all that collectively together actually turns the cash dial. Show me where it actually impacts the P&L. And that's a difficult conversation for lots of people, but thankfully it's not the way that I approach things. So done lots, been there, done that, ate it, got loads of stuff wrong. But as someone once said, it's all learning and all experience.
And often it's the things you get wrong, which it gives you the experience, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Like if you don't know how to get out of a hole, and you will end up in a hole at some stage, then you've not learned. And the other bit is, Tim, like everything in life, if you're not pushing the boundaries far enough, and if you're not breaking things, and if you're not trying lots of things, then you're not failing often enough. And that's an odd paradox and an odd conversation to have, because nobody wants to fail. And particularly you and I know, when you work for globals and corporates, sometimes in the wrong organization, it's right, you're as good as your last failure. But I think in a digital economy, in the right organizations, you've learning cultures, you've people and management cultures, and you've got this, and a horrible phrase, but I kind of like, this fail fast, try things, learn fast, don't make it expensive. throw stuff at the dartboard and wait for that bullseye to happen. Now, don't keep making mistakes, for the love of God, otherwise you will be out of a job. But you have to really stretch, and if you're not stretching, you're not growing.
Yeah, we constantly we've tried to build a culture of experimentation here at DLA Ignite, on the basis, and we're constantly as leaders saying we're going to try this. It may fail, just so that we're saying it, so that other people may go, okay, well, I'm going to try some stuff and see if it can fail, because we think that if by pushing forward the boundaries of social media, we're going to have to do some things that are going to be right, but also we've got to test things that are going to be wrong. I'm just using that as a personal experience to agree with what you say.
Yeah, but I love that. I'd love to say that is the norm, Tim, in all the organizations that I've come across, but you and I know it's not. But it's the type of organization that will progress. Google did it years ago. You remember they put this 20% thing that said, look, every once a week you will do whatever. I've actually met a company recently ran by a friend of mine called Morrison, who actually does that. They work 4 days a week. And on a Friday, they encourage the staff to learn and to grow. What a happy team. That's the kind of place you want to be in. That's the time organization that will grow. The organizations that don't stretch, don't grow, do all the same stuff in the same way and expect different outcomes, it doesn't make sense. And as you said, it doesn't matter whether that's automation, social media, engineering, manufacturing, whatever it is, it's all the same principle time and time again. Stretch, grow, don't stretch, don't grow. Eventually, digital Darwinism will kick in and you will be as extinct as the dinosaurs that we saw thousands of years ago.
So what does it mean to be digital?
Gosh, that's a massive question, isn't it? Let me try and answer it in some way. I sort of run around a triumvirate or three-legged stool and talk about product set, skill set, mindset. Now, if we talk about from a product set perspective, it's not about having a pen and paper anymore, although I still use those all the time. It literally is about you. Yeah, and thank God. And that's the funny thing. Everybody talks about, pure digital and as if that's a golden panacea and anything that's analog or whatever isn't great. It's a bit like the old story. I don't know whether it's true or not. One nation went to space and tried to get an ink pen to work. Another nation went to space and used a pencil and it worked perfectly. Why spent millions doing it? I think the first one is right tool for right thing. So if you can improve an organization using social media, using digital websites, using collaboration tools like Zoom, or look at what we're on, StreamYard, to create your own production studio. Use tools that empower your staff like RPA, low code, no code tools, or something even, more code based. If you can use CRM applications, all the things that allow you to turn your working experience, and that's a CX and EX, the customer experience, the employee experience, into digital experiences that drive data that allow you to do other stuff. It's about putting products, digital products in that allow you to make the customer and the employee experience wonderful, really key enable. So you've got those key moments of truth that are brilliant, and maintaining the analog side of things where that's important. I don't want a chatbot, for example, handling my medical diagnosis. I don't want a chatbot handling my claims experience if I've just crashed my car because I'm emotional. But it's about putting all the right products in to make that customer experience or customer journey or employee experience really good. So that's the products. And there's enough products out in the market that we don't need anymore, and that everything that you want to do will work. And we've seen that with COVID, because all of the firms says, I couldn't possibly work from home. Zoom, Citra,
Hello,
it's all been there.
I still remember the conversations about when the pandemic first hit, where there was a big four, big five organization that one of my colleagues, his wife works for, and they were going, we're moving half of the company over to Zoom on Tuesday and the other half to Zoom on Wednesday to see if it works.
And guess what?
And it did.
Yeah.
And we look back and we say that and we're kind of like laughing, like, come on, but that was what it felt like 18 months ago.
It's a bit mad. Something what we didn't do, and I always fail at this myself, I should have videotaped the experience. Yeah. And then in 20 years' time, logged it on Instagram, YouTube or something, and just did a vlog about the time. It's too historical. But the product set is there. But you're mentioning what I call the mindset, which is, COVID, and it's a nasty thing. One of the benefits, and always look for the green shoots or the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, as we all Irish look for. You're sort of going, well, look, what we said couldn't happen, or would have taken 5 years to happen. Go off, nice jolly weekend, write a strategy. 2 years later, you've hired the team, made the mistakes in 5 years. It happens. It happened overnight. It shows you that all the tools are there if you want it, and everything is there if you want it to work. And that old phrase, Tim, you'll have seen this throughout your career. If you want it to work, it will. If you don't want it to work, it won't. If you think it will, it will. If you think it won't, you're also right. That's the second part of that stool. Get the products, they're there. Absolutely more than you will ever need. Mindset, and this is the other bit of COVID, you had to get it to work because you had to stay in business. And the other beautiful bit was all those silos that existed suddenly got broken, where, it wasn't Tim in finance and it wasn't Julie and whatever, we'll never talk to them, we'll never cross the threshold. Everybody had to work together to make businesses survive. Everybody, a bit like this, we're in each other's rooms, we see our kids, the personality of people come out, and suddenly it was, oh yeah, Tim, yeah, great guy, as opposed to that guy in accounts or whatever. All those barriers broke down, and I hope to God that, we end up with that better work-life balance. We end up with tech that makes life easy, and we end up still respecting and trusting and liking each other and working together as collective people for our customers to deliver great outcomes. So that's the product set and the mindset. And the next bit, the third part of the stool, is skill set. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you do not invest in your people, and I use the phrase, people transform an organization, not technology or policies. If you train your people, if you invest in them, and that's all the good stuff, the technical training, the product training, the market training, finance training, social media skills training.
Because we see so many organizations that place, we call it digital hope. Yep. Where they know that they need to move to digital, and so what they do is that they employ some people. I'm just going to, it doesn't matter what age group they are, but they employ some people because they think that they have some sort of digital capability, and then hope that that person will transform the organization.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Like, you need a small number of people. If you ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese, great analogy. Divides an organization into three: those who won't move, those who watch, and then a small group who create that snowball effect. Something happens, they get it to work, they celebrate the success, the ball or the snowball rolls a little bit more people get caught up in that, and over time it creates a great big snowball, and the organization can transform. But you can't transform an organization if you haven't got your HR strategy, and by that I mean your learning development, not just hiring people in, because that, to your point, okay, we're going to be digital, I'll bring in a head of digital. Okay, magic. Well, why is it not working? I'll bring in someone great. That's one I hear lots. And everybody in the organization going, so you're not training us and we're not great. So even though we've got you here.
Yeah, I've got a friend who said, we're great. Well, why is that? Well, we're bringing this person in. I said, well, I looked at their LinkedIn profile, and there's nothing on their LinkedIn profile shows that they know anything about digital at all.
Fantastic. How can you not?
So you're going to pay this person for 2 years. 2 years down the road, you're going to go, that didn't work, did it? And by then, you're way behind.
And probably you've broken your existing culture, because that is the phrase, we'll bring in someone great, which by implication means we've not invested you, you're not particularly great, and these people are. And I've seen that where it hasn't worked. The new person comes in and blames the current staff, well, they don't get it. Oh, okay, we'll replace. And I've seen organizations break. So that bit about, the skill set is not just, chucking them in a classroom or I've seen the computer-based learning. Yeah, just go and learn robots, go and learn Java. There's a course, you'll be okay, or there's a book.
On CBT, computer-based training.
Yes, this is about, I call it, whatever you want to call it, career pathing. And organizations, from before you start, ought to have the most amazing interview experience, the most amazing onboard experience, the most amazing first 90 days with mentorship. And that's just your start. And then that's about, how do I keep people interested? How do I keep them motivated? How do I keep them up to date and skilled and ready for their next job, and this organization well prepared as well? But if you don't have your HR team wrapped around your organization and pushing the board, and too often I see HR teams go, well, you didn't tell it. No, your job is to envisage the future as much as the CFO, as much as the CTO, work together to drive the next generation of talent to allow those individuals to be brilliant. Not all maybe will be on that bus, but fight to treat your staff the best you can and bring in some talent as you need to and get them to work together to be amazing. So skill set, product set, mindset, 3 absolutely key things. It doesn't matter what, be it financial services or in your industry, Tim, social media, all those things need to come together to make a successful business.
So what are the what do you see as the impediments of getting digital?
Yeah, do you know, it's I call this our dirty little secret, because if we're saying the product set's there, well, I'll call it my dirty little secret. If we say the product sets are, so all the tools you need are absolutely in place. You can get all the training you want. That's all in place. So then it comes down to will and desire. And too often I see people as the actual blockers. Now, I'm not turning around and saying, well, you know, right, everybody in an organization doesn't want to transform, but in general, and there's a great cartoon or meme going around the internet, who wants digital transformation? The crowd puts their hand up. Who wants to take part in this? Half the crowd put their hands up. Who wants to be digitally transformed? And no one puts their hand up. You know, it's a little bit of, I think people worry about change, number one. They worry about technology, and then they worry about the future. And some of those are easily solved because I see too many transformation or restructures in organizations that talk about all the pain. But what about the shiny path? What about the end of the rainbow? They fail to paint the picture of how the future looks amazing when they do these things. The other bit is they fail to bring people with them. They fail to communicate. So therefore, people fill in the gap of uncertainty with all sorts of worries and paranoia. Or they do what we said a moment ago. They bring in a team and say, they're great, and by implication, you're not. So they immediately turn the team off who resist helping anyone. Or they don't train the team to become digital. Because you asked me at the beginning, what is digital? And the answer is, well, I know what digital looks and feels and sound like because I've done it in so many orgs, but not everybody has done the same thing. So let's get digital could mean let's put in Zoom for some. You and I know it's not. But if we don't show them, don't train them, don't communicate, don't motivate, don't bring people with us, and don't augment when we need to make the experience better instead of just giving tech for tech's sake and making it more difficult, then people are always going to resist. But sometimes people just resist because they worry and they're nervous about the future and what's in it for them and what does it mean anyway, despite doing all that. So for me, it's a kind of, nobody likes to say that. I'm happy to, because I've seen it so many times over in so many organizations that I don't shy away from it. And if we recognize it, we can deal with it to help organizations transform. That change management piece is immense.
I mean, I've worked for organizations where on Monday, if you posted on social media, you got fired.
Wow.
And then on Tuesday, they said, we all want you to go onto social media and post stuff.
Dear goodness.
And there was no training, there was no support, there was no mentoring. So everyone's sitting there going, well, yesterday you were going to fire me. Today you want me to do it. Tomorrow you're going to fire me, aren't you? So I won't do it. And then I was like, so no one's posting stuff. No, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, really. Isn't it amazing the way? And this, I'm a fan of every executive team, by the way, getting independent observers and executive coaches and everything. I'll not blame the individual to harm the innocent, but one of the organizations I worked in, it was a turnaround operation. The CEO said, right, we're going to have a mentorship culture and everybody's going to coach and you're all going to coach your staff. Do we get any training? No, but we want you to do it. And being an executive coach, you need trainings like anything. Being a guru in social media like yourself, you don't suddenly decide one day you're going to be it, not. And then everybody went, okay, sounds good. And by the way, if you think I'm going to do this, then you're kidding yourself. Immediately, guess who coached and mentored? No one. So again, it's crazy, isn't it?
But the CEO was probably going around saying that we have this culture because he or she would have said.
Yep, the board heard we had. No one was doing it, but look
so,
good on
so I've got. So in the last couple of minutes, I've got a note down here. In my notes, it says "tech for good."
Yep, I like that phrase.
Yeah. So just give me a couple of minutes on tech for good, Kieran.
Okay, so let me give you my definition. So I worked with a social housing charity. And very often we look at tech for profit, which is fine. Absolutely, I'm into tech for profit. That's how organizations go and grow, putting in a CRM, a SAP, whatever else to get an organization to perform. But I'm particularly passionate about how do we give people technology and include them in society. So at the moment, what you'll see a lot of, Tim, is the government's digitizing. You want your driving license, you want your passport, a digital passport, you want your benefits or whatever else, or you want access to something, then you need broadband and you need a PC or some device. And probably for you and for me, you're going, yeah, look, I pay £30 a month for my phone, I pay £30 a month for my broadband and whatever for my laptop. It may not be the most significant proportion of our income, it may or may not. But for someone else, there's a difference between what I describe as eat and heat. Yeah. And even £2 or $5 a month out of their income suddenly means that they are choosing between eating and heating. Now, those individuals, some can't read or write, and that's just a function of their background and environment, whatever else. Doesn't mean these people are stupid in any shape, form, or others, just circumstance. And some people can't actually afford laptops, modems, mobile phones, or whatever contracts. And therefore, they are going to be increasingly excluded from society. And if we don't give them the tooling and the technology that you need, then they're going to fall further and further behind. But the technology is the first bit, because you and I have read so much in recent years about AI and ethics in AI and whatever else. If we don't give people the education that they need and put the systems of light governance in place to allow innovation to flourish, but in the right way, then we're going to end up with a very biased society or a very one-sided society. So when I say tech for good, I'm talking about technology has, for me, been the thing over the last 50, 100 years that has radically transformed society. If you look back 100 years, if you want a cataracts operation by a robot, it could not be done. If you wanted cures for cancer or COVID or whatever else, it was not possible. Now we are in the best period medically, financially, and it may not be just everyone's benefiting from it, ever in the history of the world. And a lot of that is down to technology. Not the only thing, good governance, good politics, whatever, but down to technology. If we employ technology and bring everyone with us and educate and govern lightly, and I'm a fan of light regulation, enough to protect everyone, then we can make an amazing society where everyone's included and involved and engaged and benefiting. And that is what I call tech for good. I don't want to see tech for harm, bombs or destruction or whatever else, or theft or hacking. I just don't like it. It's taking advantage or using technology to prey on ignorance and vulnerabilities. And I don't mean that ignorance in any bad way. I despise seeing that. But technology is amazing. Using it in the right way to bring people and society and culture and politics and whatever forward, I think we have the best opportunity ever. We just need to get it right.
I agree. I think we live in amazing times. You just look how quickly people were able to produce a vaccine for COVID and roll it out. Okay, so nothing's perfect, but we do live in amazing times, and I'm really pleased that I'm living in this age.
100%. We just need to guard a little bit. Again, you've seen the AI ethics scandals, and you've seen the amount of hacking and whatever else happens, and people, again, I put this down to education, getting excited by crypto and NFTs and whatever else and putting their life savings in, or people preying on vulnerabilities. I would love to see something that stopped that. Technology is an amazing, amazing thing when used right. And hopefully we can be advocates for that, helping educate through videos and
Absolutely.
webinars and seminars.
Kieran, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm really annoyed that I can only talk with you for 20 minutes, because I'd like to talk to you for longer and actually pick on all kinds of things and pick your brain, because you're into certain areas which I find fascinating, which I would love to know about, but I'd have to do that another day.
We'll do it another day, and I'll get to ask you questions about social media, because I'm fascinated by your knowledge.
Yes. So, Kieran, remind people where they can get hold of you.
Yeah, just you see my name on the bottom of the screen here. Just search on LinkedIn and you'll see my face appearing. I'd love to connect with people. And if I can help you in any shape, form or other, please let me know. I produce a lot of content around this space, RPA, intelligent automation, data analytics, social media, the metaverse and everything else. hopefully to goodness you find it useful. I have a lot of fun creating it, and I hope other people will enjoy it as well. Let me know if I can help you. But LinkedIn.
And I think you've got like a yellow background to you. It's quite your photo stands out really nicely.
Yeah,
So
thank you. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, Kieran, thank you so much for your time today. It's been excellent.
Yeah, really fun, Tim, as ever. Look
Good.
forward to the next time we get to talk.
Yeah. Cheers, Kieran. Thanks. Bye.